The 49ers are still alive for the number 1 seed. Now they need help. They need to go undefeated. They need Philly to lose. So let's look at the 49ers path first. The 49ers have to play, in my opinion, the only 2 quote unquote losable games that they may have potentially would be Seattle, which I'm being nice because I think Seattle has a lot of talent. Again, I think they're completely outcoached. So I don't really look at that as that losable, but it's division. They're desperate. You never know. Emotional win for the 49ers. And Seattle has more rest going into this one. Maybe that one can sneak up on the 49ers. Do you think, like, what, put a percentage chance on the Seattle game that they could lose that game? Being real about it. What do you think, David?
15%.
I think that's fair.
I just think this team is locked in right now. And there's not a team. Look, all due respect to Geno Smith, I thought that Geno actually showed up against Dallas. I thought that actually DK Metcalf's first touchdown that was a slant. A slant? 25 yards downfield? No, it was not a slant. It was a dime from Geno that got around Deron Bland's pretty damn good coverage. And so Geno, when he's on, he's on. I also think that there's not a quarterback the 49ers fear less than Geno. He historically plays horribly against the Niners. I think the Niners match up very well against them. Their defense is worse than the Eagles by a pretty wide margin. You saw what happened. Look, you saw the mid-off, the Cowboys and the Seahawks. We want those teams in the playoffs, right? Eagles, you want a defense like that in the playoffs. Like, if you can't play defense, like, you got to score points, but if you can't play any defense on the back end, you're not gonna go anywhere. You're not gonna go anywhere. And not against a team that has a good defense and an offense like that rolls like the Niners. So yes, you were saying the other game is the Ravens, right? And I will say this: the Niners will be favored against the Ravens for a reason. The Ravens are a very good team, but it's their house. I think that what we've seen from the Ravens this year is a team that I completely respect, maybe more so than any opponent they're going to have. And at that same time, I expect the Niners to pull that win out. I don't think the 49ers were losing the rest of the way. I really believe that. I believe that this was the benchmark right here to say, here's who we are. Okay. We're going 14-3. Period.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they should be favored to win out. That was the next question I was going to ask. So Seattle, I would say 10-15%. Yeah, I mean, anything can happen, I guess. I think there are some things that favor Seattle as far as the rest and whatever, but ultimately I think the 49ers are just too good. And then the Ravens, that's really the last one that should really give them any sort of trouble. The Ravens are a really good team. And a side note, talking about the Ravens, talking about Zach Ertz, who just was able to become a free agent. If I'm him, I'm not looking at the Eagles and Dallas after the way the 49ers manhandled them and saying, hey, I'm interested in going to those teams. I'm going to the AFC, to either Kansas City or Baltimore with a quickness, because I don't want anything to do with having to go through a San Francisco 49ers team on the path to the Super Bowl. I'm staying well away from those teams. I threw Dallas in there. I don't think they're in it. Dallas is in it for Shaq Leonard, but Shaq Leonard might want to think twice as well. He might want to go to the AFC as well. I don't think I want to be on these teams that have gotten absolutely ramrodded by the 49ers the way that they have. That's just me.
If I want a ring, there's one team. There's one team. If I want a ring, it's the 49ers.
Yeah.
And the Niners don't need him. And look, all due respect, Zach Ertz ain't going to light anything up for anybody. Like, he could be serviceable if you need a guy to come in, right? But yeah, like you said, the Cardinals, okay, there's that game, that trap game, right, on December 17th, which I will be there in Glendale and Phoenix. Kyler Murray, they beat the Steelers today 24-10. Minus Kenny Pickett, which isn't that big of a deal. But fully expect them to beat that. Then they're going into Washington, who's Sam Howell. I've been singing his praises all year, but their defense is just horrendous, and their offensive line is the worst in the NFL, maybe second to the Bears.
Yeah.
But no, they're the worst. And then you got the Rams, which by week 18, depending on record, it might not even be. You might not even have the Rams playing, even though they had a dominant win against Cleveland, who again has no quarterback, but the Niners played it with no quarterback and lost. So I respect the hell out of the Rams. So no, I really fully expect. I think that this was their test. Here's the thing: The Jaguars are very close to be the number 1 seed. Are they the number 1 seed right now? I think they are.
I think at this
moment. If the Chiefs win, they go back. But like right now,
wait. Have the Jaguars played this weekend yet?
They play tomorrow. They play Monday night against the Bengals.
Right now, technically the Ravens are, I believe, because they have one more win. They're getting their bye week. So technically,
I think if the Jags win at Cincinnati, so you donkey stomp the Jags in their house. Not a bad team. You donkey stomp the Eagles in their house. You donkey stomp the Cowboys in your house. But let's be real.
And then you get the Ravens.
I'm sorry, the 3 best opponents. This is why I'm buying all stock and I'm never a homer. You know that.
Yeah.
Like I am like the least homer person you'll find. The hardest opponents they faced, they have absolutely destroyed, decimated, annihilated, and no hyperbole. Took their lunch money and made fun of them, right? Like no other team has done that in the NFL this year. None.
Well, really, then if you beat the Ravens, you've beaten all the contenders for a Super Bowl as this season plays out, other than the Chiefs, and you haven't played them. So, that you can't beat a team you didn't play. But the Ravens, to me, the AFC is like the Ravens and the Chiefs. So if you beat them, you've taken out half of what could come out of the AFC. The other contenders in the NFC, really, it's the Eagles. Maybe you can throw Dallas in there, but the 49ers boat race both of them. You've beaten all the best teams in the league outside of Kansas City who you haven't played. So, I mean, there you go. And so next week, the other half of this is we need the Eagles to lose if the 49ers do go undefeated. The other half of this is the Eagles. They have 2 tough games potentially on their schedule. Seattle, which, it's out of division game. Maybe Seattle could potentially do something, but really, this next week is the best chance for the Eagles to lose. It is in Dallas. Dallas has rest on their side. They're at home. Philadelphia is coming off of a very, very tough stretch. Now, they should be very healthy. I think Goddard will be back, which will be a big get for them. We'll see where Shaq Leonard decides to go. We'll see about Ertz and whatever, but we got to be Dallas Cowboy fans for 1 week. 1 week, we got to be Cowboy fans. Yeah.
Well, and then the week after that, I'm going to say this.
Seattle.
Eagles going into Seattle on Monday night in Seattle, December 18th. And look, I'm telling you right now, I think the Seahawks are going to win that. I really do. I think the way the Seahawks play Dallas, I think these teams match up in that way. Like, I'm not going to be surprised to see the Eagles lose 3 in a row. Niners, Cowboys, Seahawks. And I'm not saying that's going to happen. Yeah. I'm saying I'm not going to be surprised, like at all. Like, I think what you saw from the Seahawks is what I've been talking about all. Their secondary is not good. They hemorrhage points. They hemorrhage yards. They're always coming from behind for a reason, right? And that's
you mean Philly. You mean Philly. You said Seahawks. You meant Philly.
Yeah, Philly. Mm-hmm. So like this idea that I think that I don't think they're lucky, right? I do think though that when they're going to go and play some better opponents, you're going to see what the cream is going to rise to the crop. And right now, like, I'll say this: if the Eagles go down and shit the bed in Dallas, there is going to be some major soul searching, and that is going to be a tough road win for them in Seattle.
Yeah, I definitely. I mean, I still think if they beat Dallas, then the chances are dwindling, and I think that they kind of get their groove back, and I would expect that they beat Seattle. Although I'm not saying Seattle doesn't have a chance, but also I think us beating Seattle hurts those chances because I mean, Seattle just might be like reeling at that point. You know what I mean? Who knows what it does to them psychologically as well. So this week right here, as nasty as it feels, we gotta be Cowboy fans. We just do for 1 week. Just set it aside. You got to be it for a week. You just have to.